1982 was an exciting time of innovation and cultural phenomenon. With technological advancement, there was something new and energizing in the air. Just in time for Christopher Weston Chandler to arrive. When Bob Chandler and Barbara Weston welcomed their first child, they were already 53 and 40 respectively, resulting in their parenting skills lacking the energy and discipline needed to keep up with the young, boisterous Chris, often letting him run wild without the routine and structure needed for a young child. This relaxed parenting style would culminate with Chris being left with a babysitter whom would abuse the 1.5-year-old, often locking him in a closet. This caused Chris to become non-verbal until the age of 7. Chris's disruptive behaviour carried over to school, with teachers finding him difficult to handle, with Chris claiming abuse at the hands of the teachers. His parents would end up suing the school for this, but it ended up being dismissed by the courts on unsubstantiated grounds. This resulted in Chris being homeschooled for the foreseeable future. To cope with this lonely existence, Chris sought solace in video games, especially Sonic the Hedgehog, from which he would have his first taste of fame. In 1993, Chris would enter the Sonic Watch and Win sweepscape, winning the grand prize, a $1,000 shopping spree at KB Toys, with news cameras showing up to interview him.
Christian is a high-functioning autistic child. This past fall, on his own initiative, he entered a contest based on a favorite cartoon character.
What I had to do was exactly watch Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon, and I'd listen to what Sonic says at the end of it, and write it down for a whole week, and then I had to mail it in, and I had to be drawn out of a hat, and I just won.
Chris's obsession with Sonic would only grow stronger through his teenage years, with the new phenomenon of Pokemon inspiring him to create his own character, using Sonic the Hedgehog and Pikachu together to produce Sonichu. From here, he would build his whole identity around Sonichu, spawning a webcomic series and a website and a clay medallion forever around his neck, as well as creating a Sonichu album cover in graphic design class at school. Despite his troubles, Chris graduated high school in the year 2000, afterwards heading to community college, but with his mind focused more on getting a girlfriend and less on academia. Chris's unconventional pickup method came in the form of an attraction sign, posters which he would post around his campus, hoping it would catch the eye of a special someone. Instead, it caught the eye of the college dean, whom suspended Chris for a year. Afterwards, Chris did return, graduating in 2006 in computer-aided drafting and design. With his formal education done, Chris would continue working on his Sonichu comic series, which he'd upload to his personal website. The blatant plagiarism coupled with childish drawings attracted the attention of trolls. It was from this point forward that Chris Chan's life would change forever. Chris's most notorious troll went under the alias of Blue Spike, a 13-year-old boy whom contacted Chris through 2 false identities, a girl named Julie and her evil brother Max, predominantly using the persona Julie to manipulate Chris into doing sexual things such as phone sex which lasted several hours every evening, as well as convincing Chris to take an 800-mile drive to Ohio to rescue her after pretending she'd been kidnapped, leaving his home at 5:30 a.m. without telling his parents beforehand, leaving them a note which they read when they awoke, immediately calling the police and filing a missing persons report. When Chris got to Ohio, he found no sign of Julie, with no one in the neighborhood having heard of her. Chris made the long trip home to be met with his parents' anger, threatening to make him homeless if he ever did such things again. With Chris's online fame growing, he attracted the attention of websites such as 4chan and Encyclopedia Dramatica, bringing along another predominant troll, Liquid Chris, an alias of Christopher Morton Duckworth, whom claimed that he was the true and honest Chris Chan, creating a YouTube channel uploading parody videos sporting a paper Sonichu medallion and striped shirt.
Vlog started June 21st, 2009. My name is Christian Weston Chandler.
Claiming to be selling Sonichu merchandise to get a reaction from Chris, which he did, creating a back and forth with both claiming to be the real Christopher Chandler, until the prank ran its course and fizzled out.
Come clean. No false documents. Your real name. Your real name. You're not the original Chris Sonichu. I am.
By 2011, Chris had been online for over a decade. The constant trolling campaign was a fixed part of his life.
I want everything about my house off the internet! I'll send in detectives, I'll send in police, I'll send in everything in my power to get it off the internet!
Listen to me.
Yes.
Listen to me.
Yes.
Shut that goddamn thing off.
He was both comforted by the attention and oppressed by it, struggling against the tide and yet somehow reliant on it. With his life existing solely online, Chris's mental health was deteriorating, going through gender dysmorphia as well as fits of rage becoming more commonplace. Things got worse when Chris's father Bob passed away. Despite his shortcomings in Chris's early life, Bob was the backbone of the family, understanding individual needs and providing unconditional support, and without him, Chris and his mother Barbara would struggle. In 2016, Chris changed his name to Christine and came out as transgender, believing that his gender was changing after watching high-frequency videos, which led him to cut his taint in order to grow a vagina, but this ended up causing an infection.
God is a woman!
Chris also started to believe that he was a goddess, dubbing himself as Goddess Blueheart, claiming that our reality and cartoon reality will soon collide in a dimensional merge, destroying 41% of humanity in the process. This further demonstrates that Chris was struggling with his mental health. In July 2021, a piece of audio was released with Chris describing how he'd had sexual relations multiple times with his mother. The woman on the call is Isabel Loretta Yankee, a 20-year-old troll who manipulated Chris into believing she was his friend, whereas she was the exact opposite.
I didn't have any idea that Barbara was, that Barbara knew I had that sort of relationship. I never got any of those vibes. But how did you approach her?
I approached her with care and caution.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a time approach. So I just gave her comfort and talked with her, and we just branched out slow and steady, and then I encouraged her positively, let her make the first move. She wanted to do it. And
she did? Really? She made the first move?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Wow, Barbara. How did she do it, if you don't mind me asking? What was the first move?
I don't remember exactly. Well, that was her first move, but my approach was... I forgot exactly what terminology and approach I used, but I approached with care and caution.
After the leak, an emergency protective order was put in place on Barbara, as she was believed to have dementia, but these claims are unsubstantiated. The following day, Chris violated the protective order by stealing $750 from Barbara's bank account. Then on August 1st, 2021, Chris was arrested at the Regency Inn Motel, captured by an onlooker. Chris was charged with felony incest and was taken to Henrico County Jail. Appearing in court on August 5th, whereby he announced to the courtroom that he was famous on the internet, the judge deemed Chris to be a danger to the public and ordered him to remain in police custody. In February 2022, Chris was transferred to Western State Psychiatric Hospital, declaring him mentally incompetent to stand trial. On August 8th, Chris went to a grand jury and is given a continuance due to the lack of evidence. Chris was held in Central Virginia Jail until on March 2023 the court ordered Chris to be released, causing mild hysteria, with fans eager to see the newly released Chris out in the wild. Apart from a few sightings, Chris has stayed out of the limelight, but will the allure of the online world prove too strong? After all, it's the only place where his name carries meaning. Time will tell. And with Chris Chan, you could never guess.